All right, guys. Welcome to the market shutdown call. Just to make sure that everything is going well, can I get everyone to drop something in the chat box to make sure that you guys can hear me properly and that everything is working good? Perfect, 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 perfect. So what we're going to be going through today, I'm going to turn on my camera and I'm just going to talk about it a little bit. All right, guys. Hey, how's everybody doing? So what I'm going to be talking about today is the United States government shutdown. So what can that government shutdown do for us? Well, it can, of course, it's going to move all of the pairs. Everything that has USD in it is going to move, and I want you guys to understand why. So everyone should know the two types of analysis for Forex. We have fundamental and technical. Now, technical is normally what I do when we mark up charts and we look at Fibonacci, trend lines, whatever it is. And fundamental is what's going on in the world that will actually affect these currencies and how they move. So right before we get into it, I just want to introduce myself again. My name is Scott Lewis. I'm nicknamed SavagePips, soon to be hopefully a swipe trader working with the company. I just need to work some things out with Chris. And then, yeah, I'm the top educator, top trader of our Canada team, and I'm grateful to be on here with you to be able to give you some insight into what we can do this week and how we can be making money while the US government shuts down. So just to get into it, we're going to take a look at the US oil monthly chart. All right, perfect. So if you guys can see it on the screen, yeah, you should be able to. I just want to show you what is going to be happening this week and what will be happening for the next little while and what we can do about it. So yeah, obviously it's falling. And why it's falling is because the US government has not been doing well in the past little while, and we all know that. So what we can do, we can open short orders. So we're selling the US oil. We can sell the US 30. I believe 3,000 pips were caught on the US 30 last week on a sell. So I'm saying this week, any pairs that are US related are going to heavily move in one way or the other, such as USD CAD will be going down and Euro USD will be going up because of your pairs and crosses that you would have learned about in the IML Academy so far. So that means that anything with US second should be going up, and anything with US first and the currency pair like USD CAD, US oil, USD CHF should be going down, and anything with USD as the second in your currency pair, so Euro USD and GBP USD should be going up. Does that make sense? Perfect. So this is the first thing I just want to talk about today. We're going to take a look at the oil chart again, and this is the daily chart, and obviously it's been going very heavily downwards, and these do not move like normal currency pairs. They don't move like crypto. They move a lot differently, and we can make and lose a lot of money in these. Some brokers' spreads will be very, very high, so please check what your broker's spread is on US oil before attempting to trade it. But this week, when the market opens in 2 hours from now, I'm going to be selling or shorting this pair. So any US oil, I will be selling it. So if I can pull up. Yeah, it's the same thing. So that's the very first thing without any technical analysis other than this monthly and weekly markup that I had here. This is the only thing I'm looking at, that it has to continue down to at least that area just because of what is happening in the real world. Now, what we know about fundamental versus technical, we know that fundamental pushes the technical. So our fundamental analysis, what happens in the US, in Canada, in Japan, let's say anywhere, that's going to push what we can already see from the chart. So like if we draw support and resistance or supply and demand and we see it's approaching one of those zones and the news says something, we obviously know that it's going to be following what we marked up for our chart in the real world, because that's how it works. These things don't just, like trend lines and support and resistance, supply and demand, don't just show up out of nowhere, but it's more of a real world analysis of why it stops there and why it will come back down once it hits a certain point, or go back up once it hits a certain point in the other direction. So that's my very first thing I want to say to you guys. The market opens, I'm selling oil, okay? I'm going to be dropping that in the chat. Now, this is not a direct signal, so if you guys, like if you take the trade, that's on you. It always is on you. It's never my time to give you signals, but I can definitely push you in the right direction. So the first thing I'm going to be dropping in the chat here, just to remember everybody, short, oh my God, oil. Just so you guys can look back before we enter the call, take a screenshot of everything that I said so we all can kind of remember what I said and what we've been talking about. So now I want to take a look at some actual currency pairs. So the first thing we're going to be looking at, we're going to look at USD CAD, okay? So like I said, sorry, I'll just clean off my markup here. Okay. Now, if you see why markets push technicals with fundamentals, we can see we're heavily approaching this zone on the weekly chart, all right? So that's a big thing for me, but the weekly is a bit too big for us to look at with Forex. So we can see on the last daily session, we had a lot of movement upwards. Now, I believe that that's in anticipation for the move down that's about to happen. So as the market reaches these levels, it's kind of seeing how far it can push up before we see the movement down. That's going to happen when we get the government shutdown, right? So what I'm going to be looking at, I'm going to be looking at a short on the USD CAD as we reach this area, because I believe the anticipation, I'm not sure what day they're scheduling all of this to happen, and it's normally not a perfect schedule, but I think it's going to be able to push it up in anticipation because everyone's focusing on the US right now before the big drop, and we see a lot of money to be made if we enter short orders, okay? So like just as me eyeballing the chart, 1 second, I'm just going to close this. What is that? There we go. Perfect. All right, sorry about that, guys. I'm just going to be drawing a little arrow to see what we can happen, and if it's wrong, it's wrong, right? But we'll take a look next week and we'll see what happened and see exactly what we did to make the money, lose the money, have no money, make all the money, whatever it is. So this is my exact thoughts. I think we're going to see a big trend reversal, but I mean, I guess we're going to have to see what happens. So a big thing that I want to show you guys, I'm going to be opening up a separate area. Now, I believe that you guys can all see this. We're going to go to fxstreet.com. Now, what is fxstreet.com? This is where I use my economic calendar. Now, the economic calendar is very, very important when we talk about things like this, because you see right here. Next, today, tomorrow. Okay, perfect. So when we talk about things like this, we always want to know when it's happening and how much volume it's going to affect in the actual market. So how much is it going to change the price, and what is it going to do? How radical will it drop, go up? Just how is the impact going to be when this comes out? So this is something I use a lot. So I check it most mornings before I start trading, because I don't want to be trading in heavy markets. So like if we scroll down here, we see for the JPY, we have monetary policy meeting, and that our little bar here is red. That means on Tuesday, there's going to be a lot of, I guess, a lot of market impact from this with the JPY pair. So we might see a lot of impulse buying, a lot of impulse selling, depends on what happens. So maybe on Christmas, we're not going to want to trade USD JPY, GBP JPY. Anything with JPY in it, we're probably going to stay away from it for a little while because of that red bar. But the most money is made in those red bars. So whenever we see, like, of course, if we go on NFP, our non-farm payrolls, and we look at, oh, it's not going to show me because it's not NFP. But if we look at our economic calendar on the first, the first Friday of every month, we're going to see a lot of red bars for the US dollar because of NFP, which means there's a lot of money to be made, but a lot to be lost if you don't know how to do it properly. So what I'm going to suggest to you is to stay away from these type of things. Always stay away from big market movements, because if you're not professional at trading, if you don't really know what you're doing yet, we want to stay away from it, because we could expect another move than the way it goes, and we could blow whole accounts on these one movements with proper risk management if it drops a certain amount. I believe NFP, it normally fluctuates really high up and then really high down in the same 5-minute span, and it normally goes 100 to 150 pips either way before it chooses a direction. So we can lose a lot on those, and we want to stay away from them. Such as this week, if you're not ready to risk some money and you're not ready to trade it, we want to stay away from this market shutdown because it can be dangerous. So another pair I wanted to show you guys is the USD JPY, and this showed me earlier how much Oh, wow. Exactly. How much did how much does the price push the fundamental, or the fundamental push the price? Sorry about that, guys. I'm just a little focused. Yeah. So how much does our fundamental analysis really push our price analysis? So like I said, anything with USD in front will be going down, and anything with USD at the end will be going up. So our USD JPY has already started its move down. And of course, we see this huge trend line up right there. I'm sure everyone can see that on the daily. So because of this, we have seen it break through the trend line, which normally indicates a market reversal, right? So what we're going to see is the continuation. Like if I want to draw another arrow here, the continuation from this breakout, I think we're going to see a full trend reversal. It's not going to go down like that, but maybe like this from this area, because of the news, because of the chart patterns that have been pushed by the news, and because of this market shutdown that we're going to be dealing with this week. So like I said, don't just enter these trades just to get in them and just to make some money if you don't really know what you're doing. But of course, be looking for entries when the market opens tonight to sell USD JPY, to sell USD CAD whenever it hits a resistance or a demand zone, and to be buying Euro USD and GBP USD. Now that's my view on it. Like that's how I see it as playing out. But of course, everyone can have a different view. So if you do have a different view, I would love to hear it so that we can look at it together. You can always PM me on Facebook, and then maybe if I see it, we'll be able to talk a little bit. But I want everyone to be aware of how serious that these things can be in the markets and how much we can risk and lose if we don't do it properly. So I want you guys to be very, very certain, to be very careful this week. Now, I know a few people have talked to me and said, should I open a live account to capitalize off of this week? The answer is no. If you're on demo right now, do this on demo. Some of the traders that I have on my team that are live, I've told them to go back to demo for this week because I don't think that they are ready to be trading this volume of, well, this big of an event on a live account, because I don't want them to lose money. I want them to keep it safe, stick to demo, and you know, there's always money to be made in the markets. You don't need to make it when something big like this happens. This is normally when something goes wrong and we lose money. So don't just take these signals and drop them into your live account without really looking at it yourself and deciding, because I take no responsibility for these signals. This is my point of view and this is what I will be doing, but it does not mean that you should be doing this as well. Does that make sense? Everybody drop a 1 in the chat if that makes sense. Come on, I'm waiting for you guys. There you go. Yes. Yes, see, there's going to be a Q&A at the end. Of course. I always do. So USD JPY, sell, obviously. USD CAD, looking for the sell as well. US oil, sell as well. Now, where are we looking at the Euro USD and GBP USD? I'm going to start with GBP USD because if you know me, you know this is one of my favorite pairs, and I love trading the GBP to USD. So that's what we're going to be looking at right now. As well, I do want to say what I've been saying for the past week to everyone. Please be careful this week anyway. Every year around the end of December, the markets turn into this. Can you guys see that? Where's my block? So this is something that happens end of the year markets. This is the daily chart, and you can see all the wicks on either side because the price is really, really inconsistent right now. Because it's the end of the year, things are wrapping up. We're going to be starting 2019 very soon, and I know a lot of my traders and myself as well have kind of stopped trading for the end of the year just to kind of let what's going to happen and then get back into it January. But of course, I can't tell you guys what to do, so I guess we're gonna see what happens with that. I'm going to zoom out to the weekly chart, and we're going to take a look at GBP USD and why I believe this is going to be a buy, other than the fact that, oh yeah, perfect right there. Other than the fact that, well, the US government's going to be having a little shutdown for a little while. Okay. All right, perfect. Okay, yeah, guys. So I know you guys can all see this, but just to kind of clear it up for some people that may not be able to see it, what we have here is a test on a big, like daily or weekly trend line. We have a test on a support that was a resistance in the past, and that has been a very strong support recently. So this is just as well telling me that we're going to see some buying action, but just because of what's been going on recently, with the markets in the end of the year, it may not be a perfect buy just yet, and it may not be a perfect buy at all. Like, of course, this looks like a great buy to me. I would be buying it if it wasn't December 23rd, right? And that 2019 is going to start in a few days, and everything is wrapping up for this year, and the markets don't move like we would like them to. But of course, I will definitely be looking for an entry, as well as this quick market exhaustion here. I'm going to draw that in so you guys can see it. Do you see the big downtrend that we have? And then our most recent weekly candles have been very, very small. A lot of wicks on either side. It's still going down, but it's slowed down like a lot. And now our new weekly candle has started in the green after bouncing off of this area. So yes, I do believe that this is a perfect time to see a little bit of a market reversal, maybe a smaller one than we would have thought, but of course I'm going to be looking at a bigger one. But just to be safe, like I've been saying this whole call, guys, be very, very careful with these markets just because it's the end of the year, like I've said. So other than that, I want to take a look at some smaller time frames for this so we can look for potential entries for this pair. But again, this is not a signal. Of course, if you open the trade, that's on you to trade it. It's not my responsibility. I'm just giving you guys the tools. You guys got to go out and do it yourself. That's what this is all about, right? All right. So moving in closer range. So you guys you saw on the daily and weekly, it looked like a pretty good buy because of the area that we're set up in. Again, we have a small uptrend, just about there. One second. Perfect. So we have a small uptrend here, as well as this is called a rising or an ascending triangle. Okay, let's call it a rising triangle just to be safe. So we have a strong resistance on the top. I'm going to write these out. Strong resistance at the top. And now we have an uptrend line moving up and boxing it in as it comes up to this. Now, if we look, we had a descending triangle on Bitcoin for a very, very long time. And then as I had called months ago, we saw the move down to 3K, like is exactly what happened. The support line was at 6,000, around, about 6,250. And our trend line, like we had our support here, and our trend line was coming down on it, and it was squeezing the price into a little corner like we see here. And then of course we saw the movement down further towards 3K for Bitcoin. So this is another great opportunity for me. I would say normal price action and normal market structure would mean that we do have a great buy here. But again, I'm just going to say the same thing like a broken record. Please trade carefully because it's the end of the year. Other than that, I definitely see a buy on the 4-hour. At least until, actually, definitely out of the triangle for sure. But we also have this trend line. So we might see it reverse off this trend line and continue to go down. But I do believe we'll see some impulse movements and some big candles coming in GBP USD very soon because of this, because of the daily, weekly, monthly charts, because of the 4-hour charts, because of the ascending triangle, because of the news, because everything. So this is how we find good trades. Everything has to meet together perfectly. And if it doesn't meet up perfectly, if not everything is perfect, we don't want to take the trade. Okay. I know sometimes people say like, we can't have everything be perfect in the world. No, of course not. Nothing is going to be perfect by itself. But if we move everything that's pretty good together, we can create something just as close to perfect as we possibly can, which is great. So multiple confirmations on multiple time frames, fundamental analysis and fundamental, US government shutdown, of course, of course. So that is my markup for GBP USD. I can post this in our group chats, and I know not everyone's in the same group chats here, so I'll be able to send this to Isam or to Alex, and he can drop it in all his group chats as well, because this is a great thing to look at. So other than that, I'm going to open up TradingView with a new tab so that we can keep that GBP USD for later. Euro USD is our next move. I did say Euro USD and GBP USD do move in kind of the same way. I have a correlation sheet somewhere typed up on my computer. I can also send that to you guys because I do want everyone to have an idea of how pairs kind of work with each other, because it's like saying USD CAD is a buy. That means if you sell CAD to USD, you're going to make the same amount of money because they negatively correlate, but you can't be trading USD CAD and CAD USD. So we kind of go with like, can you guys see me? Can someone type in the group chat if you guys can see me? All right, okay, perfect. I'm sorry. I think my internet just crashed and I lost connection there. I'm sorry about that, guys. All right, I'm coming back. I'm gonna share the screen again. I'm very sorry about that. I'm glad that it works now. It scared me for a minute, to be honest. Okay, can everyone drop a 1 in the chat if you can see myself, you can hear me, and you can see the Euro USD chart in front of me. I want to know you guys can see everything before I start. That's what's up. That's what's up. All right, guys. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, guys. So here we are again, the daily Euro USD chart. What do I see immediately? Uptrend. And what do I see on the top? There it is. We still have a long ways to go before this ascending triangle really does anything. But like we can say, like all of the trading strategies I use put together, we have support, turn, resistance here. So this is a support. It's now a resistance, a resistance, a resistance, a resistance. So I believe we're going to see them move down, move up, hit the resistance, move down. And then about 85% of a triangle is where we see the break. Write that down. If you guys should be taking notes right now, if you're not, start now. 85% of our ascending and descending triangles is where the market breaks out 95% of the time, okay? 85% of the triangle. Please write that down. Please take that in your notes. Take a screenshot of the screen if you have to. Just make sure that you guys know. So what we can do, I know there's a few different tools that we can use to like really measure it, but we're just going to get into eyeballing it. That's the best way to do it. Just say, how is that looking? And of course, it's not going to break out when it's in the middle. So we're going to look for our breakouts here, here, and even maybe like, well, definitely not there. That's not it. So I would say here and there. Write that down in your notes. Please take that into consideration when trading triangles. But again, like I said, GBP USD and Euro USD kind of work a little bit of the same way. So I believe the same setup is applicable, just with a little bit of different candle action. We still have our, clear the screen. We do still have support, support, resistance. Oof, it's not the best trend. Yeah, no, we don't really have a nice downtrend there. So yeah, ascending triangle, support, resistance, action. We have a great zone that it's entering right now on the daily. So I do believe this, again, just like GBP USD, is going to be bullish action, which means we're going to be entering buy orders. So now I'm going to go through what I just said. Oil, that's a sell. USD CAD, that's a sell. USD JPY, that's a sell. GBP USD, that's a buy. And Euro USD, that's a buy. Now, what am I gonna say? Can anybody guess? These are not signals, okay? These are not signals. Do not just go dropping these into your MetaTrader because you know it's dangerous and we can lose some money. But what we can do is look for entries and be prepared for where the market is gonna go. now, because it's the end of the year, as I've said 100 million times, like this whole call, because it's the end of the year, if you don't trade with stop loss, now is a good time to start. Keep tight stop losses and tight take profits, because the market is it's predictable, but it's very unpredictable at the same time at the end of the year. So please be careful. And if you blow your account, I apologize, but I'm giving you the advice so that that doesn't happen. Now, what do I normally do? We're going to move down to the 4-hour chart. And again, remove all the drawing tools. We're going to mark it up all over again. So, uptrend. A little bit of a downtrend. Resistance, support, support, and yeah, resistance. So on this area, this of course does not mean to buy immediately, because you can see that it's been a heavy fall for the past few hours on this chart. So what we're going to do, I'm going to be looking for entries in a few zones. So I'm going to drop some arrows. I have mad chats. Yeah, of course, guys. So 85% of our descending triangle, I'm actually going to pull up. See if I can spell. Wow. I'm just going to pull up what a descending triangle looks like and how we can. All right, here we go. So can you guys all see that on the screen that I'm sharing my screen right now? You see we have our descending triangle pattern, and around 85%, you can see that right here. 85% is where we have our breakthrough. And then normally after we have a breakthrough, we have a retest, and then we have our continuation. And then we had another retest and then another continuation. But of course, we're not going to be seeing at 85%, we're not going to start selling, but we're going to start watching for it. So like I said, if we go back to the daily and we look at our descending triangle again, I'm just going to draw it up real quick for you guys. Or ascending triangle, sorry, that's ascending triangle. Wow. So what I'm going to be looking for here, I'm not just going to be buying by market right now. You guys know that. So we're going to be looking for the move here, which is what we saw. So maybe like here, and then up, down, up. And here is around 85%. So this will be where we're looking at the buy. And if it breaks, we're not going to start buying, because we're going to buy on the retest. So there we go. There is always, always, always a retest. So when we see our 85%, we have an 85% triangle. We see the breakout, we buy on the retest. If we have a descending triangle, we see the breakout downwards, we sell on the retest. Don't just start selling when it breaks, because it's going to retest and you're probably going to hit your stop loss, lose your trade, and lose the winning trade. We know that it's going down, but we just sold at the wrong time. So then we lose the trade and nobody's happy. Now I'm just going to look at one more thing. I don't trade futures. I don't trade stocks. I don't trade a lot of this, but I just want to show you what happened this last week. And if anybody has been keeping an eye on the news, we're going to look at the US 30. Look at that. This is just a small heads up for you guys. There's been a lot about market shutdowns. There's been a lot about the US government shutting down. There's been a lot about the stock market crashing. And I do just want to touch on it very quickly, okay? Just very quickly. The stock market has been going up and the US dollar has been going up for a very long time, all right? And when we see moves like this is just this month. All of these have been very small movements, and then we had to move up. But now when we see drops like this, that does mean that there's something big coming, which of course we can all kind of tell with the news and with the stocks that are crashing and with everything that is not doing well right now. So I just want to keep you guys in the loop, and I want to keep you guys educated about like what can be happening soon. There's supposed to be a big market crash again, like we've had multiple times before. So this is not where we want to be investing in stocks. This is where we want to be shorting stocks and shorting futures and shorting everything. Not all currency pairs, but a lot of them will be good shorts in the next, or good sells in the next few months. So I just want to keep you guys updated. And because I know a lot of people don't really look into this stuff, but I do. So I just want to tell you what I know about it and how to be protected, right? We don't want to be investing lots of money into stocks, futures, or really anything right now. We want to keep our risk management small stop losses if you're entering these type of things. I know I myself have traded stocks on MetaTrader before, and it's not like Forex, okay? It's not like Forex. You can drop a 0.01 and lose hundreds of dollars, or make hundreds of dollars, but lose hundreds of dollars. It's not worth the risk. So if you find out that your broker can do that, like what I did, I found out mine worked, and then I tried it a few times, made some money, and then I sent an Amazon signal. Everyone should remember the Amazon signal. It did not go well. I'm just going to go with that. It did not go well, and a lot of us over leveraged our accounts. So I just want everyone, be safe in these matters, be careful, and risk management, okay? Manage your risk. Know the risks before entering this, and don't try to blame anyone if you get in it and you hurt your account, you hurt your whatever it is. Just please be careful. We're going to see a lot of things happen in 2019 and a lot of in the next few years. So I just want to warn everyone to be very careful, be very wary of what the market can do, and be ready for any crashes, okay? Now, I believe someone had asked me a few minutes ago if we could do a little bit of a Q&A. So I would love that. So I'm going to open up the chat box. I'm going to keep it up here, and any questions I would love to answer. I love answering questions. I love helping all of you guys. So please ask some questions. I'm here for it. All right, Chris, I'm going to start with Chris. My favorite time frames to trade on. I'm a swing trader and I'm an intraday trader. I'm not a scalper, but I do have a few scalping strategies. But for my favorite time frames, I work on the daily and the 4 hour for Forex. So the daily is where you can see really the movement of the market and which way it's going, our real support, our real resistance, our real supply and demand zones. That's where you find them. But the 4 hour is for entries. So when trading, it doesn't matter what time frame you trade on, but you have to be looking on the high time frames for your entries, or for your setups, and your lower time frames for your entries. If you trade on the 4 and 1 hour, your 4 hour is the way that the market's moving. Your 4 hours is the way the market's moving, and like if you're going to be looking to sell or buy, and your 1 hour is where you find the entry. So always take it down one time frame to see where you're supposed to enter. Now, I believe that if you master the high time frames, you can master Forex, and that's the best way. That's the best way to trade. Trading on the 5 and 15 and 1 minutes is never really going to get you long-term results. Luther, well, that's your name on here. I did see your question. I will answer it just in a second. I know you just had your hand raised. Okay. So, yeah, man, I work on the daily and the 4 hour. That's about all I trade on. Sometimes I'll look at the 15 minute if I can't see anything on the 4 or 1 hours, but very, very rare occasions. Riley, my favorite pair is the GBP USD, actually, like we just marked up. That's my favorite pair. I don't know exactly why I chose it. I just feel like I'm really good with that pair, and I know the way it moves. So I trade a lot of GBP USD. It's a major, so it moves in not a weird way, and I like it. Isam, this week would be better to hold long-term trades. Yes, if you're going to trade this week, please swing or intraday. If you scalp this week, I pray for you, okay? I'm praying for you if you scalp this week, because it's not going to go well. So yeah, this week, long-term trades. If you're trading, if you're not really good with your trading so far, please don't get involved in the market this week, because it is going to be a little scary. So get on demo. I would love for everyone to be trading demo this week so that we can learn what to do in these situations and not risk any real money on it. Zach, actually, I got chat a little late. Did you talk about supply demand Fibonacci? I did not talk about it, but I would like if you want to get on a call, just me and you later, I'm 100% down. If anybody wants to get on that supply demand Fibonacci call, drop some ones in the chat, and then we'll make a big call about it later this week. Damn. Okay, guys. No, for sure. Yeah. For sure. I'll get that set up. I'll be in contact with you guys. We'll run a supply demand Fibonacci call sometime later this week, man. For sure. Chris, the IML Academy is the best way to learn like your trading terminology. What is support and resistance? What are trend lines? What is, well, I don't think they talk about supply and demand, but what is Fibonacci? How to learn a little bit about market structure. But the real place that you want to be is the IML TV, bro. IML TV is where it's at, man. That's amazing. I learned so much from there. Christopher Derrick, that's my favorite trader. I also know Leon Davis. I've watched him a lot too, but Christopher Derrick is like, he's the best. So IML TV is where you learn to use this stuff. IML TV is where you learn to trade for real. And if you're using IML and not using IML TV, you're wasting your time and wasting your money. So get on IML TV, everybody. Please get on IML TV. I'm begging you. IML Academy is amazing, but it's only going to take you so far. IML TV is where you learn and where we make money. All right. Any more questions, guys? If we don't have any more questions, I'm just going to bid you all guys a great week. Isam, I use Hugo's Way because they have quick deposits through Coinbase. I use Vantage sometimes. They have really low ECN spreads so that I can scalp a little bit. And yeah, that's my broker. Hugo's Way, they only deposit through Bitcoin most of the time. They might have fixed their card system actually, but I deposit through Coinbase. It's very quick. They have all the pairs you could think of, all the futures you could think of, every single crypto I could ever picture in the world. They have everything. So they do really good, but Vantage is good for scalping with a raw ECN account. The leverage I use is 1 to 500. Now, what leverage should you use? 1 to 100 for sure. 1 to 500, 1 to 400, 300, 200. It's a lot of leverage for a small account size. So you want to be very careful. Like you can over leverage your account very easily. With a 1 to 500 leverage, instead of having $1,000 in your account to drop a 1.00, you only need 200. So please be careful. Risk management is all I can tell you guys. Risk management's very, very important, and keep it together, right? Keep your mindset straight and don't risk too much money. Nobody ever went broke by closing in profit, but a lot of people went broke from dropping standards and losing 30 pips, all right? So other than that, guys, Merry Christmas. I'm glad to have all you guys on here. I'm glad to have such a great team. We'll speak soon. I'll be running the supply and demand call early January, late December. We're going to talk about it for sure. I'll be in contact with all of you guys through the group chats. It was great to have you guys here. I hope you learned something. I love you guys. Have a good night.